Howdy, my name is Gabe Rayer, and I'm speaking on behalf of our group, Justin, Samantha, Vishal, and Jack. And our sport is pickleball. Quick little background, pickleball is a paddle sport that combines elements of tennis, badminton, and table tennis. It is typically played on a rectangular court with a net in the middle. It's similar in size to like a doubles badminton. Players use solid paddles to hit a perforated plastic kind of wiffle ball back and forth over the net. The game can be played in singles or doubles. Is known for its social and inclusive nature, making it a popular among people of all ages and skill level. Pickleball is often played in recreational settings like community centers, parks, private courts, and just anywhere. Pickleball has gained significant popularity and has become organized in many regions. There are official rules and regulations established by organizations like the USA Pickleball Association or the USAPA and the International Federation of Pickleball, which is the IFP. The rules cover various aspects of the game, including scoring, serving, court dimensions, and player conduct. Uh, league Leagues tournaments and classifications exist within the pickleball community, providing opportunities for competitive play. Various skill levels are recognized, allowing players to compete against others of similar abilities. Pickleball leagues and tournaments can be found at local, regional, national, and even international levels. The sport continues to grow and evolve with enthusiasts actively participating and promoting its development. Whether played for fun, exercise, or competition, pickleball offers an engaging and accessible sporting experience for people of really just any diverse background. And those are my references for the start. Thank you. Thank you. Transitioning into Paralympics, pickleball is it's despite the absence from Paralympics and regular Olympic Games, pickleball is a testament to adaptability, inclusivity. The USAPA has taken significant strides towards diversity by formatting rules and regulations tailored for wheelchair matches. This proactive approach shows the sport's commitment to embracing players of all abilities and opens the door for potential future inclusion in major international events such as the Paralympics and the regular Olympics. At the heart of pickleball's just at the heart of pickleball is the celebration of competition and camaraderie. The annual USA Opens, organized by the USAPA, embodies this spirit by offering a platform for both regular and wheelchair accessible pickleball games. This dual pronged approach reflects the sport's dedication of fostering an environment where athletes can showcase their skills and passion regardless of their physical abilities. Beyond the court, pickleball's influence extends to various corners of the country, with multiple centers and facilities providing tailored lessons for individuals with disabilities, including amputees and others without just regular lessons for those without any disabilities. These adaptive lessons promote physical well being and harness the power of sport to create a sense of belonging and empowerment within these communities. As pickleball thrives and evolves, its story is an inspiring example of how sport can transcend boundaries and create a more inclusive world. Thank you. And stop share. And end.
Now on to amateurism. With athletes' amateur status being a point of pride for the games, anyone who came close to being a professional athlete was removed from the competition. When the word amateur was removed from the Olympic Charter, it came in a flood of professional athletes into the Olympics. And so, with this change in the Olympic Games over 50 years ago, the addition of pickleball to the Olympic Games would possess the same rules as far as amateurism as any other sport. However, with the addition of pickleball as being a trending recreational sport over the past few years, it is possible that there will be few professional athletes purely because of the lack of outlet for professionalism in this sport specifically. With the addition of pickleball to the Olympics, it will spark a movement of people who love to play the sport recreationally to begin training professionally, but no additional rules need to be added as far as amateurism in pickleball if it were to be added as a sport in the Olympics. Now, onto the economics and addressing what economic shifts can be expected. With the addition of pickleball as a sport in the Olympics and the addition of more athletes that come with that, there is potential for a growth in costs as more people play pickleball and also people rally behind the sport as well. Different countries bid on wanting to host different Olympic Games, and each city can make or lose money depending on their resources and how they choose to steward them. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, host cities didn't expect to make a profit early on in the Games because they didn't have television broadcasting. So the Games were publicly funded so that these countries wouldn't fold under the massive costs of the Games. Now, with television broadcasting as well as the growing popularity of pickleball, the cost should potentially go up, but not without the benefits of having public support and funding.
Hi, today I'm going to be talking about my proposal for pickleball in the Olympics. The first topic that I want to talk about is marketing in pickleball. For the past few years, pickleball has become one of the fastest growing sports in the United States. This is largely due to the fact that it can be played by people of all ages. Though it has not gained the worldwide popularity of other Olympic sports, if the sport was to be marketed in other countries as it is in the United States, the sport will soon become a worldwide sensation. The markets that will be the most receptive to pickleball in the Olympics will be the United States, Canada, Spain, India, France, England, and a majority of Europe as that is where the most pickleball is played outside of the US. The sport is only in its earliest stages in terms of growth, and with the help of the Olympics, pickleball fever will skyrocket over the next few years. The sport will be marketed on social media by pickleball social media creators around the world who have already become widespread and on television. In just 3 short years, pickleball has already created professional leagues such as the Professional Pickleball Association, or PPA, in the US, and competition is even shown on large sports television networks such as ESPN, Fox, CBS, Tennis Channel, and ABC. The sport is growing for a reason because it is easy to play and very enjoyable for people of all ages, and it gives people something to keep themselves active. The already growing sport would be able to grow at a worldwide scale with its introduction to the Olympics. It would give fans something new to enjoy and look forward to. Next, I'm going to be talking about some social issues in pickleball. There are some issues that could impact reception of pickleball in the Olympics, and one of these issues is ageism. The sport of pickleball is known to be associated with elderly people because the sport has very low impact on your joints and does not require an excessive amount of athleticism to play. This issue could impact those who have never played in different age groups as they may not be as receptive to watching an old person's sport. Gender representation is another issue, like mostly all other sports. Pickleball has gender representation issues in professional leagues. But one thing that pickleball has that many other sports don't is mixed doubles, in which men and women play together against one another, which allows for that social issue to be redacted a little bit, which would be really good for Olympics and marketing. Accessibility is the last issue that can impact its reception. As pickleball begins to grow, not everyone around the world is able to access the sport freely, which could impact how much people truly feel about watching it, as they themselves may not be able to play the sport depending on where they live. Here I have some of my references that I looked at. Some of these references include CNN and the New York Times.
Hi, I'm Jack, and I will be covering the ethical concerns with our sport, pickleball. A big ethical concern is a tactic used by many players called tagging. This is where a player intentionally or unintentionally hits the pickleball directly at the opposing team, causing them to move out of the way or the pickleball to hit off their body. This ultimately creates a point for their team. A volley from within the kitchen area can reach 40 miles per hour or more. This would be a reaction time of a quarter of a second for the opposing team to move out of the way or hit the pickleball, returning it to the other side. This is an ethical concern for the safety of the players due to the ball being hit off their chest or head. As majority of sports, cheating is also a problem in pickleball. This has become possible with paddle modifications or delaminated paddles. As the Pickleball blog states, this results in more power than permitted during the paddle testing and approval process by the governing body for the sport, USA Pickleball. Further, this additional power can be dangerous on the pickleball court, especially since players are so close at the kitchen line. And finally, the widespread of the sport in America, compared to other countries, could cause this sport to be dominated by few countries. For instance, according to Backcourt Pickleball, all of the top 10 players in the world are American. Pickleball's inclusion in the Olympics, I believe, could be very beneficial ethically for the sport. I believe the knowledge of the Olympic boards and just knowledge of sport overall that they have could formulate a rule against intentional tagging, creating a safer environment for the players. Following that, the biggest concern for paddle testing would be the paddle deflection machine, the expenses of the paddle deflection machine. And I don't believe finances would be a problem for the Olympic Committee. As for uneven diversity of skill throughout all the countries, I believe that it will just come with time as the game grows. And what better way to help the game grow than it being televised nationally at the Olympics? And these are my sources used to find the ethical concerns for our sport, pickleball.
Howdy. Now I'd like to cover the commercialization of pickleball once it's in the Olympics. As of 2021, there were around 5 million pickleball players, and into today, in 2023, there is around 50 million in the United States. That increase is one that was unfathomable a couple years ago, and now we're talking about pickleball joining the Olympics. For an Olympic sport to become an Olympic sport, it needs over 75 countries to pass it as their professional sport to play. So once that happens, as you can see here, this is mostly all the notable companies that produce and manufacture pickleball merchandise and equipment. Worldwide brands such as Nike and Adidas lead the helm as the most notable brands that produce pickleball merchandise and equipment. But after pickleball's introduction into the Olympics, I expect an over 300% increase in investments into the sport, as for all of its merchandising, as all for its contests and tournaments, and for its equipment. Big companies such as Nike and Adidas are just the beginning of companies that will join the fray and join the pickleball manufacturing sweepstakes, as it is now going to be a worldwide, very well-known brand that has taken the world by storm in just a couple of years. As we continue on now, I would like to speak about how and who will be the best countries once pickleball is in the Olympics. There's 3 that stand out as of today, but in 4 or 5 years, this is subject to change as the popularity for the sport will continue to grow well beyond the bounds of our understanding. But first, in the gold medal, I foresee the United States as our gold medalist. For one, the sport originated here in the United States, in Washington, in the state of Washington. Also, it is the by far most popular country that plays pickleball. As we move on to the second and silver medalist, I foresee Spain as our silver medalist. For one, they boast the 3rd highest popularity for the sport, plus they are very well known for their skills in racquetball sports, such as tennis and racquetball. Those skills are easily transferable to pickleball. For instance, too, some very well-known stars of racket sports in Spain are Carlos Alcaraz and Rafael Nadal. So it should be an easy transition for many players in Spain to become very good pickleballers. Lastly, in Canada, they boast the second highest popularity for the sport. Another thing to add is they host the Canadian Open Championship, which is one of the biggest pickleball tournaments in the world. Lastly, they offer a national pickleball day, which is very uncommon amongst many nations around the world. I believe only the United States and maybe a couple more nations have their own day for that. These are our references that have helped us present today to you guys, and hopefully has influenced you that pickleball is the right sport to be in the Olympics. And I want to just thank you all for your time, and I would like to see 2028 pickleball is the newest Olympic sport.